bar, which is Seth loves to tell people that. Mm-hmm. So there you have it.
I was like really intimidated by her because she was very, very pretty, still is. When I saw her walk in, I was like, oh my gosh, this girl's really pretty. And then party was over. I was leaving, everyone else was still hanging out. And I walked by and just said, hey, it's nice to meet you. She said, well, actually, we didn't meet. I'm Emily. And I kissed her hand. No, I didn't do that. I just shook her hand. That was it. Just lightning as soon as she touched my fingertips.
I was glad he said hi.
I think the Box Hop was formed and created out of like baby steps that got bigger and bigger and bigger. I bought a duplex right when I met Emily. Like we went on our first date and the next day I signed on the duplex. And that really just needed like minor work. And Emily was right there beside me. My sister Tab helped, but it was just paint, clean up, tidy up, do some minor construction stuff. And it wasn't anything too crazy. So that was like a small bite. And then we got married and we bought a house that had been empty for 3 years. And that we painted, we did some minor construction, took out a wall, did some things, redid all that ourselves. We learned more on the second home that we bought. And then we moved again 2 years later, 2.5 years later, into a house that we did a lot of work to. It was a big step.
We knew that it had raccoons that had lived in it because when we went to look at the house, there were like scratch marks all over the corners, like where they
Raccoon poop everywhere.
It was quite a way to come back from like this blissful moment of being married.
Back to reality. And I think that was pretty key in the creation of the Box Hop was how confident are you in doing a kitchen or a bathroom and how that needs to be laid out, because Emily designed all those things. And so, you know, you start with paint, and what kind of paint, what kind of light fixtures, and then what kind of bathroom, what's the layout, and then what kind of kitchen. Eventually, it's the whole house.
Leading up to the Box Hop, as Seth has been talking about our different homes that we've lived in and projects that we've taken on, I mean, it really went from picking out tile and paint colors to then moving and graduating to, okay, I want to rip this entire kitchen out. And if I'm gonna do that, what are we gonna put in place of those things? It came pretty easy for me. So when I was talking with friends or family and kind of showing them what we were doing, they're like, you just did that yourself? Like you didn't have help, nobody laid, I'm like, no, it's pretty simple. You just do this, this, and this. And it kind of encouraged me, I guess. I remember sitting in our living room. I had just got my real estate license and we were sitting there thinking, okay, we want an investment. It's not working out the avenues that we had started going down. So you brought up this idea like, hey, I've always thought about using shipping containers to build with ever since I worked at FedEx. And I was like, interesting. Never thought anything more about it. And then when we were, you know, stuck in our investment journey, you were kind of like, well, what if we did that? And I feel like we were sitting in our living room one day, we were looking at property, we went and saw it like the week later, and then we closed and we were like, well, crap, we're doing this. I don't think we knew what the Box Hop was going to be, like, at all.
Yeah. I don't think we had any idea that it would take off the way it did, so we had just thought that it would be nice to be able to get out in the woods every now and then, have a space where we could take our kids, play outside, play in the woods, and rent it out occasionally and maybe make some extra money here or there. I was kind of like what's the easiest path to finish this house kind of guy. She would be like, let's do this. I'm like, gosh, that's gonna be so hard to do. Even the containers, I wanted to put them like on top of each other this way. She's like, okay, well, how about this? I was, how are you gonna stack those?
I just wanted it to be so different from what you see in Hocking Hills. There's just something so homey and cozy about it, and I wanted something that was gonna be completely different and just upside down from what you're used to there.
I think it hit me that it was going to take off and book really, really well. Probably a month and a half, 6 weeks after we'd actually published and like put it out there. We'd had some people stay that had blogs and they were actually really well known on Instagram. And I think it hit me in December when we were at our daughter's ballet recital and our phones were just like going off and we have notifications when we get bookings. It just went really, really crazy, really, really fast within like 3 hours because this blog came out and then people started resharing it and people started clicking the links and booking it. Building the OG, the first Box Hop was really scary. Like I knew we could do it, but you do a lot of work and you don't know if, like, how well it's gonna pay off. And you also, like, there were times where I just felt like a bad dad. We had 2 kids, our daughter Mina, our son Emery. Emily was pregnant. You want to be a good dad and you want to be a good husband, and you're doing this for your family to have a place, but you don't want to get lost. My only problem with working all the time and not being around my kids is that when I was younger, my dad worked really, really hard for our family, and I think there's a lot of respect and honor in that, but it also affected me not getting to be around him. Like, I love my dad. I did then, I do now, but I want to be around my dad when I was younger, and I know my kids wanted to be around me.
And then seeing how hard Seth was working, like, I was extremely proud of him for all of the time and effort. And I mean, I've never met somebody as motivated and dedicated and driven.
Let's just stay in this space for a while. Keep going. This is a good place. This is a good place to
We're
be.
gonna have to somehow, like, reel it back. So from the beginning, Seth and I, when we were dreaming about the Box Hop, was having multiple container homes on a piece of land. And we kind of were saying, like, they could have their own little theme or, like, feel to them, vibe to them. And I think that's a very clear picture of who we are. It's just fun to switch it up and do things differently. And when we knew we were gonna build a second house, 2 things came to mind, which was, we have a larger one. What about people that are honeymooning or just couples that come down to hike? So let's do a smaller one. And then second was do a completely different feel to it, because why not?
Yeah.
It'd be fun. So they have their own totally different feel. And yeah, went for, like, this bohemian vibe because it was more warm and cozy and romantic feeling, especially for, like, a 2-person cabin.
So I think as we look at building more shipping container homes after the first 2, and now this 3rd one, which is well underway, I think we've learned that we can only do so much. If we want to do 5 in a year, we've got to bring other people in. After 2 builds, I think we stood back and said, what's the most important thing to us? My family is the top priority, but I feel like sometimes I had to push them off to build, and we don't want to do that every year for the next 5 years, because then I would be a bad husband and I'd be a bad dad, because what's the point if you don't get to be with your kids and with your wife? So I think the journey kind of helped us come to that realization, building 2 container homes. We are building a 3rd. It's bigger, better. And this process has been a lot different. And it's been slower up front because we had to get a lot of the paperwork and, like, the details done up front. But I think those systems and what we've done in 2020 will allow us, 2021 is gonna be nuts. It is, it's gonna be nuts. But yeah, I think that the first 2 were really hard, long learned lessons for both builds. And this 3rd one, we'll see, but it's feeling pretty good.
When we were talking about doing this 3rd build, we knew we had to have a different avenue. Like, there had to be people to stand in to do the heavy lifting for Seth. There had to be people that
I can lift heavy things, but
there had to be an actual, like, architect doing these drawings instead of me, sketching up and using free software. But we definitely didn't want to lose this, like, integrity that made us who we are and our creative venture. So this is exciting. This step that we're taking, it's allowing us to do just that, where we can put everything that we've dreamt about, everything we want to do, flow through, like, this process that's going to just streamline us and hopefully keep our progress as a business and momentum in our brand to keep going.
Can you tell me the name of the 3rd build yet?
Yes, I think so. So it's a Scandinavian Swedish word that's spelled Hygge, but pronounced Huga.
the 3rd build will be nothing like the other 2 builds, which has been the purpose since we started, is to never reinvent what we've already done, but do something totally different, such as
Huga. If you want to know more about the 3rd build, the Huga box, then you will sign up for our emails if you're not already on there. Because we will always send out to our email subscribers all first notifications and any news we have coming.
Huga. watch our story here. The BoHo, the OG, too much to handle. Like and subscribe to this video. Leave me a comment if you think this song sucks. I can handle it. For now, I'll just go.